This then and now cocktail is a Negroni. Negroni is 3 equal parts gin, Campari, sweet vermouth. We're gonna stir them all together nicely to make a balanced cocktail. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna ice the glass. Some beautiful crystal clear ice. All right. So you may notice that I'm using a mixing glass instead of using a mixing tin. The reason why I'm using a mixing glass as opposed to using a tin is because I'm gonna stir this cocktail. So the first ingredient in this is gin. So this is a London style dry gin from a company called Forge Gin. Shout out Forge Gin. 1 ounce. So basically Forge is a London style dry gin. A London style dry gin basically is saying that you can't add any flavor or botanicals after the final distillation is done. The 3 mother botanicals for a gin are juniper berry, obviously, coriander, and citrus peel. So the next ingredient we're gonna add to this Negroni is Campari. So we're gonna do 1 ounce of Campari. Like I said, 3 equal parts. So 3 equal parts would be 1 ounce of each. Campari is basically a red or a pink colored aperitif. Bitter in flavor profile, definitely has some citrus involved there. So you've got gin that kind of has a citrus component, and you also have Campari that has a citrus component. The next ingredient is Carpano Antica sweet vermouth. So vermouth is a fortified wine that's been mixed with botanicals also. I'll be doing episodes to sort of really highlight what each one of these categories are, but for these videos, I just kind of want to give you guys the recipes and sort of how they're used. Now we're gonna ice it. You know how I do, like to fill it all the way up. So I've got this stirring spoon specifically, as you can see. It's got this swirl going down the edge. It makes it sort of easy for me to stir. Yeah, it seems really simple to stir, but actually it takes a little bit of technique. I kind of do a push back and forth with my fingers to get that going. And I'm gonna take this spoon and keep the back of the spoon to the glass. And I'm gonna stir. The purpose for stirring also is dilution, just like shaking a cocktail. I just don't need the same level of dilution, so I don't need to get such vigorous dilution. You can really pick up the aromatics off that. There's a lot of things that create aromatics in this cocktail. So you've got gin, you've got Campari, and some of that wine component with that sweet vermouth. Bunch of botanicals in here. So what I'm doing now is I'm gonna dump out this ice. I really wanted a nice chilled glass, so I've got my nice chilled glass now. I'm gonna drop this piece of ice in here. I'm gonna take my strainer and we're gonna strain over this cocktail. So the history of the Negroni. The Negroni, and listen, there's lots of folklore about all types of cocktails. I'm gonna tell you my story or my version. It could probably be refuted, but it's pretty much the truth. Basically, the Negroni was created by the Count Negroni. He was out hunting with his homies, doing things that dukes do, or counts do. And he came back, and the drink of the time that was in vogue was a drink called the Americano. And the Americano is just sweet vermouth and Campari with club soda on top, orange, all that jazz. Delicious, nice aperitivo, but guess what? Not very strong. So he told his house bartender, hey buddy, we need something, but we need it a little bit more strong. So the guy said, dang, what am I gonna do? I guess I'm gonna add gin. And what he did is he fortified and made it stronger by adding gin to it, and the Negroni was born. That may be a bit of a stretch of the truth, but hey, it plays well. If you tell it at a party with your friends, it's not a complete lie, it's just a slight stretch of the truth. All right, now we're gonna garnish this cocktail. What I'm gonna do to garnish this cocktail is I'm gonna use a citrus peel. And then I always like to make them look cute. Make it look like I've been here before. Make it look like I'm trying to make a nice cocktail. So do some little diagonals. And then this is actually part of the cocktail. It's an important part of the cocktail. So this expressing the citrus peel, there's actually citrus oil in here. And one of the components that's important in a cocktail is the acid. So we're actually gonna add the citric acid by using this orange peel. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna give this a little twist. Again, it's always nice to give your cocktails a nice aesthetic appeal. So we're gonna lay that right in there. And this is our cocktail. Cheers. For this then and now cocktail, we're gonna do a little bit more modern version of the Negroni. So for this version, we're gonna be using gin, bitter, and our wine component. So So we're gonna ice that glass again. Mixing glass, same thing as we did before. Equal parts, 1 ounce of gin. So St. George Botanivore Gin, if you take a look at this label right here, it's kind of cool. It's a bear trap around a martini. And basically what they're saying is this has all of the most delicious botanicals that could go into a gin. And so if you were to put a martini out as a trap for a botanical monster, a botanivore, it would come and you could catch it surely with the martini with these botanicals. So now we're gonna use our second component. This is our bitter component. This is Salers Gentian liqueur. Gentian is a root. That root gives a really sort of strong bitterness and also has a very botanical flavor profile. This is an amazing product from France and can be drank by itself with club soda. Throw an orange in there, it's delicious as well. And our last component is gonna be our wine component. Cocchi Americano Rosa. Rosa reminds us that this Americano was made with red wine and also reminds us of the dried roses that go into this. So we've got our wine component here, and essentially what we've done is we've created a Negroni, except for we didn't use the exact same ingredients that you would use in a Negroni. We just used the components. Now we're gonna add some ice. And fill her all the way up. Remember to give it a nice stir. I don't know if you're gonna put a time frame on it, 20 seconds, 25 seconds. Usually what I'll do is I'll touch the glass up a little higher, and if it's getting cold up here, kind of got the idea that it's chilled down well. You're not probably gonna over dilute unless you sit there and stir for like 5 minutes. So maybe just like stir 20 seconds, let's say. I'll bring my cocktail, I'm gonna dump my ice, and then we're gonna add ice to this glass, and then I'm gonna strain into this cocktail. Now I'm gonna garnish. With this one, we're not gonna use an orange peel. I still wanna use a citrus peel. I'm gonna make it nice. And then we're going to express. So some people like to, do some beating, rim it around, get this on the edge, do a little hand wagging or something. But at the end of the day, really what we're trying to do is express that oil. So all these things that you can do that make something fancy, by all means, part of being a bartender or part of being somebody that's serving drinks, I would say, hey man, the more the show, the better. The more you can show people your skill set, the more they enjoy the drink, the more goes into the drink. So then we're gonna have our finished cocktail. Cheers.